All right. Thank you for joining me in this session. This is my second Drupal Asia, so I'm very honored to be here, and I'm really glad to be able to attend the DrupalCon in Asia again. A little bit about me, I'm from Taiwan. I'm a Drupal developer for 16 years already, and right now I'm based in Japan and working remotely for a bicycle company in Taiwan. So if you want to reach out to me, you can go to chris.contact to reach out to me. So a little bit about my background, because I will use myself as an example as a target audience in the session later. So my native language is Taiwanese Mandarin, and also I speak a little bit Japanese and also a little bit German. So obviously I love cats, so you can always find this photo with my cat on my shoulder, and I'm a big coffee lover. Right now I'm working in the company called Turn. So the Turn has started from 2011, and it's very proud of our own folding bikes, and now we are pivoting to focus on producing e-bikes. We use Drupal to manage nearly 40 different language variants, meaning if you go to the language setting, you see around 40 is in the list. So the Foresight in a glance, it's a one global brand with 13 different bike platforms, folding bikes, e-bikes, some road bikes. And we have our own over 120 accessories. And this website is catering for 35 different market regions in the world. So the main market target will be North America and also the whole Europe. So they tailor all kinds of content to our specialized users are very important. All our potential customers come to the website to find maybe the support, looking for product information. So we need to provide them the need and also find the relevant content for them. So yes, even the English content need to be localized. So it's not only about the translation, it's about localizing the content to meet the needs. A little bit more detail about the language variants. So I did count all the things. So there are 35 countries or regions, and including 15 different languages. So there are 12 language variants using English, 7 use Spanish, and also 4 using French, and 3 use German, and 2 Dutch, and also 2 traditional Chinese, and all 9 other individual languages. So you may notice some countries, especially in Europe, Belgium use French and Dutch. And in North America, Canada has French and English. So these are the language variants included in our website. Although Switzerland has 4 official language, but we have a French side and a German side for Switzerland. So before we jump into any very detail about what the strategy and how do we create the user editing experience for our editors, I think first thing first, we need to learn about what's the language you are going to create in. Because all the time, especially this is DrupalCon Asia, there are much more different non-Latin language all around this area. So learning a little bit about the language will help us and help you to avoid some language issue you may encounter. For example, same English text in this example, contact, when it is translated into noun, or translate into the verb in Japanese, there are 2 different words. If you are going to create the UX experience for the user in the Chinese, Japanese, and Korean area, you may need to know how many input methods they have. This is mainly the mobile input. So 2 for Taiwanese user, and there are already 2 for Korean on the right upper part, and the bottom part is for the Japanese. And there's another layout I haven't shown here, but there are much more. So when user use the input method for searching, so it sometimes affects the user experience when we are conducting the autocomplete. So it affects like how many strokes should we trigger the autocompletion. It does matters. Also, if we are trying to create a very specific design and want to make sure the text doesn't break the layout, then you may need to understand there are different translation ratios. This is an example about the user type, the user login interface. This is the core Drupal sentence from the English, and it all translates into different language in these sentences. So you can see what's the different lengths they all have. So if you're going to create your own design, make sure after you translate it, you need to test and then see if you need to extend it or even shorten it in order to make the design continuous and make people feel the same. Translation, the language itself also has their own personality. It can be very casual, like you talking to the friend. And in European language, sometimes they have more polite form when you are using in the business occasion or talking to someone you just know or talking to someone you respect. In the higher context language, for example, in Taiwan or in Japan, there might be much more depends on the context where you are talking to and what's the situation you are talking to. So this photo, I think here we have some Japanese people here. You may notice this very famous drama image very well. I suggest if you also interested in Japanese drama, this is Hanzawa. So Hanzawa Naoki, right? And then in this drama, you definitely will see the most polite and also the most impolite way in the conversation. So making a multi-language website is not always about translation. There are much more things to localize beyond the translation. For example, sorting, and there are imperial year used in Taiwan, used in Japan, and there are different units when doing the search index. There is a different analyzer for CJK language as well. So the writing system, input method are all matters. So the previous slides, I already shared much more detail in the 2022 in the Prague when I'm talking about the language issue. So you can check those. So I won't delve into too much at this section. So today I want to start with the culture a little bit. So we all live in different countries, and every country has their own culture. When talking about the traditional concept of culture, for example, there are American culture, there are Asian culture, there are internet culture, but there are more than this kind of original concept because there are also subcultures into different generation, maybe different lifestyle. So when we create the content or a product page for a Turn website, we always create content which caters to a very specific subculture. So in these two images, on the right, that's our bicycle called Aurochs. It's an e-bike. It's capable for 2 kids and also cargo and even doing the trailer at the end. So you can very easily to compare on these two images what's the specific subculture or the style we are catering to compared to the other side. This is very like sportive or extreme exercise style. So yeah, the target audience is really matters. So take myself as an example. I'm a developer, grew up in Taiwan, and now living in Okinawa. It is a far southern island in Japan, which is more close to Taiwan than the mainland Japan, which the Kyoto or Tokyo area. So this is a place where people spend their holidays at a resort along the beach. So people may use the word workation to describe the situation of like my situation at work. So it's kind of invented in Japan during the COVID, which is obviously the combination of work and vacation. So because more and more people, during the pandemic, more and more people were allowed to working remotely in order to reduce the human contact. So some people just decided to come to the island, which is very famous for leisure time, and work there and in a resort hotel. So they get a much better like life and work balance. So if I want to buy a bicycle from Turn website, I'm a Taiwanese, live in Japan, not very well in Japanese maybe. So should I be forced to go to the Japanese language site or not? I see some people nod or not sure or even wave. So yeah, it depends what I'm going to do, right? If I'm going to buy a bicycle for myself, then I probably need to go to the Japanese site because make sure it has the available platform for me. But if I'm going to buy a bicycle for my family in Taiwan, then I probably will need to go to the traditional Chinese side. If I don't know the Japanese very much, maybe I would like to stay in the English side. So last year, we redesigned our language menu in order to make it more friendly and thoughtful for the people around the world, especially this area is very diverse. So whenever a user landing on our website, no matter what language it is, no matter what the page it is, when maybe you just come from the search engine, there is a language suggestion on the top jump out when you are coming first time. So it will try to detect your IP and then write a sentence in the language of where you are in the country language. For example, this is when I loaded in Japan. So I see a language for Japanese people say, maybe you probably want to go to the Japanese website to find the available items. And then there is a button to go to the Japanese part. But we leave another button for user in English to go wherever it's capable, it's more suitable for their situation or their needs. So I'm not going to go too much detail about what module we are using or maybe custom module. If I list some module or link here, that means the module will help you. And when we open the language menu, we also redesigned this. Before, it is just one single long drop-down with different country names, language names, and also the flag. So we decided to remove the flag because flag usually can cause some clash. So I really don't like the combination of the UK flag with the American flag together. I think we see that all the time, right? So we very carefully format all the links. It is leading from English, the country name in English, and followed by the native name of the language itself. So for Belgian, you see Belgian and then Français. And then, for example, Germany, you see Deutsch at the end. Italia, Italiano. So make sure there are always a language or something user can understand so they can find what's the suitable page they are going to. So this is about just provide a very friendly suggestion in language. But localized content could be more than language. For example, the marketing approach also need to be localized. There are many marketing purpose. I'm just taking two things as example. The first one is the marketing driven customization. When we launch this product, this is our latest product called Quick Call Loan. In the global campaign, we use the photo on the left. So many countries, if they have this model, they use this photo. But sometimes on the right, that is for Germany, because this depends on the local preference. we have the distributor all over the world, and they understand their local customer much more than the global company itself. So they do have different color preference. So instead, they order more white color bicycle. So they want to use a different lifestyle image. Otherwise, it may cause confusion. If they don't have the red bike model, if they ask their dealer, the dealer will be, no, sorry, we don't have that. Maybe we only have the white one and yellow one. Would you like it? So this depends on the marketing preference. Also, the other is maybe event marketing approach. In Taiwan, there was a special launch in Taiwan for these two models. So the editors can come here and then create a different image. And the right is for Korea because maybe they have some sales event. So the distributor can use our homepage to cater some special events for the marketing needs. So although we create a lot of translation, and the local distributor help us to create a lot of translation, there are still possible to have some missing pieces, or we are not able to translate soon enough. So how do we catch those missing pieces? We can still do by create a hierarchy language tree. So there's a module can help us to define these. So usually the language list is just a single one line, but with this help we can create a hierarchy. So that means when the Argentina Spanish page was created, and the Paraguay or Uruguay, the Spanish version hasn't been created yet or localized, when user landing on those maybe Paraguay website, they will see the content from Argentina, which means because they are the same, more similar translation. But in the other way, for example, the Belgian or Canada, it depends on the distributor. Maybe they create the most used language or the most familiar language at the beginning. So if the French for Belgium is not created yet, they might see the Dutch version instead. Yeah. So it helps us to make sure the user won't get lost or see the 404 very awkward. However, there is not all the content can be cached, right? Articles or the landing page, those information can be cached. But there are still something, for example, the available product for the market or some legal content that we shouldn't catch at all because they do have very specific needs for the language for the country. So because managing the global side is not very easy, I already mentioned a little about the distributors, so they help us to translate a lot of things. So when we create a multilingual website, usually we maybe start with someone who is a bilingual person or even trilingual person. It's maybe sometimes usual, or if you're more specific about the translation, you might hire a translator. The translator won't be do maybe 4 or 5 languages with the same person, right? Because we are not all polyglot. The polyglot, I don't know if you heard this word. I heard this word for just a few years. Let me explain like what kind of a person we will call them polyglot. You probably often see a movie and when someone is caught and then asked by someone using Arabic, and the person was called and then starting to response to them in Arabic. When the person fly to Russia, they start to speak in Russian. So this is usually like the 007 agent, right? Or the spy. So this person, we can consider they are polyglot. They can speak like almost any language like a native tongue. But in the real world, maybe only people who are interested in learning more languages or people who are might be raised in a hybrid family. I think in Singapore, maybe people are maybe can handle more languages because when I travel in the metro, I always see a sign with 4 languages together. Every single language. If you notice that, starting from English and then Chinese and the other 2 languages that I really don't understand. So my previous experience in the other work, we created a website with just Japanese and English. And then it's easy to just find a coworker who can manage these two languages and then try to help us to create the first draft and then update or refine the translation later. But what if, so in our website, we won't be able to do that for all the language. And when there are more and more languages introduced into the website, when the scale is increasing, the workload is also getting much more heavier. So at least we all speak one language. Maybe sometimes I make a joke, so people ask me how many languages can I say. Instead of those speaking language, I also refer to maybe PHP, JavaScript. Yeah, so I believe here, if you're a developer, you can speak multiple languages here. But there's one very special one I really like to share the story with you because this is the last time I traveled for the DrupalCon Asia in Mumbai. And I went to a restaurant, local restaurant. All the staff who serve the meals are deaf. And so we need to use the sign language to call them and then explain or order our dishes. At the end, I was really like amazed by this guy. He served our table all the time. I saw his bag. He said, "I know sign language. What's your superpower?" I was so moved. Why it is a superpower? Because if you imagine you are in the train and the glass is so heavy, you probably cannot talk to someone you love just behind the glass. But sign language, it doesn't matter. It's a superpower, right? So, but as a Drupal developer, maybe you're a content creator or content strategy, you know Drupal very well. So let's use another superpower to help our editors to create a website, because we talk about the user a lot, our visitor a lot, but indeed our editors, our internal users are also the target audience for the website in order to make the website very success for the global brand. So let's use your developer's superpower, use your content management superpower to make the website better. So this is what we do. I will mention a few things. So when we create content, we use a strategy called content first approach before translating everything. Because content first makes the translation first possible, because the translation may affect the layout. Like I mentioned, the language ratio. So translation first will enable us to have more time to review and improve the content that makes the layout the best. Along with the other technique that I create for when we have maybe a major platform launch, like I just said, the quick haul loan, it is really important to be able to translate it as soon as possible. Before that, we used to use the Excel file, and then the editor will segment every sentence, paragraph, bottom label, or links into a long spreadsheet and ask our distributor to translate it. And after that, we create after the page is created, we will create a translation, and it is, of course, starting with the English. And they have after they got the translation, they have copy and paste every single sentence. So take an example of this page. So there are a lot of, because this is a very important landing page for the platform. So we have a lot of different style, structure. So there are also a lot of HTML div and class involved in this page. So copy paste all over the page is painful. And before I joined, the editors did this all the time. So finally I tried another way to decouple the content creation. So it's very easy. It is something besides Drupal. You can use any technique you know, for example, Next.js or some JavaScript rendering front-end tool. Then you can create a translation table, right, using JSON or the CSV format, and then just use the handlebar kind of a style to merge the translation into the HTML. So this tool will just help us to generate the main content, the HTML at the main part, including all the translations. So after these, translator, they just need to provide me the CSV, and they don't have to copy and paste because I can quickly regenerate it, and they can copy the whole HTML into the CK editor part. But this is still not enough. So I will talk about how do we even further improve this. So there are also a lot of different content types. And sometimes when the English content gets updated, and we have to synchronize some field information from one to the other languages. So we have a tool to synchronize the content. It's very easy. For example, there are 2 pages for Belgian Dutch and Netherlands Dutch. And the translation initially created together with the same distributor. So once they update one, they can use a view to check those 2 and then use the synchronized action, and they choose which one is the source. So the other one will just synchronize. So they don't have to update these 2 pages separately. So like I just said, the copy paste was the old fashion. Last year, we tried to streamline the whole translation process with AI. The original workflow looks like at the first line. It usually took 4 to 5 weeks because there's a lot of time we need a translator to translate the content and review the content. And also the post-process will spend a lot of time because those copy and paste and in every single language. So last year we was trying to do something in the middle, although we still need the copy paste, but in here we can build the page first, right? And then we provide the translation draft using maybe OpenAI or DeepL and any translation tool, machine translation, to provide an initial draft instead of asking the distributors or translators to translate from scratch. So it accelerates the translation process a little. So it needs fewer review time, the fewer translation time, because the translation part is already taken by the machine learning tools. And at the end, this year, we will ended up using the translation fully with AI. So we can just build a page, and then we take the whole page HTML to OpenAI translation. It translates everything and then keep the whole HTML intact. And then the distributors will be able to review and preview the translated content in our website. If they want to update it and modify the text, they can do so. And after that, they can just save it, so it doesn't require our editors to copy and paste over and over again. So the whole it involves from 4 to 5 weeks work right now, we probably will just need 1 to 2 weeks. It highly depends on how fast can the distributor's translator review the content. Because I think this is very important. As a developer, we probably want to have the first text to browser, the FTP really soon when we open the page. So this is the same for marketing. When we want to launch a site, when we create a page, we want to be able to release the page while we are launching the site, because the site is usually decided before we start to design or create a website. So there are some more AI tools we use to improve our content creation process. That's the other DrupalCon talk last year when I did that in Lille. So you can also check my talk in that last year. And the last part is because we handling 35 different markets, and sometimes it's important to set a very delicate permission in order to let the editors edit only their available language. Otherwise, if they touch the others, they don't understand, and then suddenly update it or remove the other language, that's not fun. So there are also tools help us to check every user can have the loss, and the administrator can select what's the available language for the user. When they land it up to the translation loss, for example, this user, they will only see, okay, they can edit or add the Argentina Spanish translation as well as the Chile and Colombia one. So that makes sure they don't sabotage the others' content. All right, so what we did to support the editors, including we need to plan ahead. So we use content first to translation first approach, and then we try to decouple the content creation process. And then let's try to also leverage the tool, allow the editors to synchronize the field translation content and speed up the process with AI. And in the end, we also need to think about how to control the detail in order to make sure the content are keep intact. So what we learned today, while we leverage Drupal's multilingual capability, we should still ensure the content is tailored to the very specific region and the cultural context. Through the localized campaign and personalized content delivery, we have enhanced engagement with diverse target audience across the different countries. And the last, we need to take care of our editors as well, treat them as a very important user. So let's implement some efficient content management strategy to support them and utilize some tool in Drupal and decoupling the content creation when needed. Let's just simplify the 3-step to reflect my title. So I think in order to have a global success, I think the first is not start to coding, is learn the basics. Learn what's the language issue you are facing. Learn what's the target language you are going to create. And then maybe talk to the native speaker and try to understand what's the thing you definitely need to avoid. And then you need to find the target goal, because you definitely will need to localize your content. So understand your target audience, define it very well, maybe using any method or persona that will be very helpful. And the final, then we can take a ride with Drupal and use our superpower to support our users. So that's it. Thank you very much for attending. And if you have any questions, we can have a talk now. Thank you. Is there any questions? You will need to use this.
So I speak English, right? But I also live in Thailand. And when I visit like YouTube or Google, they always get it wrong. They always show me Thai words which I cannot read Thai. I assume they're based on an IP address, not my browser setup. So what is the best practice for a user, or to satisfy users, like for any user, for multilingual?
So like I mentioned about the language suggestion, what we do is trying to not enforce user to see the language. So before we implement there was already a language suggestion, but it was enabled to, the forced redirection was enabled. So no matter how I enter to our website, I always has been redirected to Japanese site. So, but I'm a developer. I also need to check the global English site all the time. So I cannot just use a VPN or use all the different ugly way in order to manage the website. And so it doesn't only affect the user like you, but it also affects the developer. So my suggestion is just keep it gracefully. We visit different websites, including Apple. So this is what they also use, the strategy to suggest users. So we have a sentence saying, if you are going to, it seems like you are in, for your example, seems like you are in Thailand. Would you like to go to the Thailand page, or you want to stay here? If you stay here, people will just more intuitively just close it. Yeah.
Out of all the sites that I go to, only Apple got it right. All the other sites, it took me like 5 minutes just to change the language.
Yeah.
Only Apple allows me to view a Thai website in English.
Right.
Which is what I wanted to do.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, to be honest, Apple is really good at the user experience. If you feel confused, it's definitely a good way to just take what they do and then think about it. Does it fit to your condition for your website? Thank you. Any other questions? No? Okay. Then thank you very much. If you still have any question, we can talk privately here. Thank you.